Yo, guys, welcome back to the FPL Den. This is the Game Week 3 review, and we're here to discuss how our teams did this week. I think this was the lowest scoring week for almost all of us. If I'm not wrong, maybe Pathare did worse in the previous game week, I'm not so sure. But without further ado, let's get right into it. I think I've messed up my slide. Go, go ahead, Kesar.
How you're messing up how you mess up their team is very similar.
Yeah,
Yeah, for viewers, Karan just got about barely 60 points this game week.
yeah, just 60 points. Yeah,
All right, okay. Let me take our viewers, through my team. So I got 73 points. That's actually pretty good, much higher than the average game week points. And you can thank Antonio. I can thank Antonio for it. Good captaincy decision. To be honest, I didn't really want to hand the captaincy to anyone else, and he's paid off. He's looking in really good form. So, yeah, that's that. I'll go through some of the other strikers. Ings and Tony. Tony finally fucking scored. Thank God for that. He was going to get bonus, but takes a yellow card. That motherfucker. Ings, he's done the job. I got him in for the first 3 game weeks. He's given points every game week. And that's really good. Like, I'm very happy with that return. Midfield, Salah again does what Salah does. Bruno, not looking very involved. I'm pretty concerned with Bruno now because of Ronaldo coming in. So the penalties and free kicks, everything now Ronaldo will take, I'm sure. So maybe it's time to get Bruno out. And I know a lot of our viewers must be thinking the same thing. We'll touch on that a bit later. Greenwood is in really good form. I'm quite happy to just keep him. A good decision to keep him at the start of the season. Rama, okay, couldn't give points this week, but he was very involved, so that's good. Shaw and Trent are here to stay for a while, so there's not much to talk about them, and obviously Sanchez. So yeah, good game week, quite happy. My overall rank at the moment is 43,000 odd something, so top 50. Long may that continue.
Yeah, that's great, man. I mean, except for Fernandez and Benrahma, all your players did give returns, which is great. Ings was fine. I think it's time to ship Ings out, considering his fixtures are taking a turn for the worse now.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's the biggest priority for me going into week 4. Getting rid of Ings. I'm looking at getting TCL in. No one else, to be honest, is on my radar. I don't want to ship. I'm a bit confused if I want to take a -4 and get Bruno out. I have to sort of think as the week goes ahead.
Okay, so what are your options right now? You're looking at shipping Ings out for DCL, and what are the other two transfers?
I mean, that's I have only one free transfer to make, so Ings is going to go out for DCL. That's for sure. And then I'll see if I want to get Bruno out. If I get Bruno out, I'm planning to get in Jota.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Rohit? Do you think that you should be Kesar should be making any other changes to this team?
See, I'm just worried, like in general, not just Kesar's team, but if we might be forced to use the wild card sooner, because another issue that is happening is West Ham are getting this player called Vlasic, who usually plays around the middle where Benrahma's current role is placed. So once he comes in, is Benrahma going to move towards the left, or how is their formation going to line up? Is Benrahma going to be benched? We got to keep an eye on all of that before the next game week.
Yeah, so there are quite a few things that you need to watch out for, right? Bruno not playing well. Ings, you got to ship him out because of the turn of fixtures. Greenwood, you're not so sure because he might lose his place to say Ronaldo. Benrahma might be replaced by Vlasic. And yeah, that's 4 changes, and Ben White. Wow, there's Ben White in there. So that's 5 potential changes that could be made in order to just keep the momentum going.
Yeah, I think could be made. It's true, but then the thing is, this is a lot of speculation at the moment.
Yep.
I have decided not to play the wild card early, regardless of what happens. That's the way I'm going to play this season. I think it comes handy if you keep it till later. Even if I lag behind, just maybe in the next few weeks is okay.
Got
For
it.
me, it's
Got it.
not a big deal. And once those changes can happen, or like I can see the dynamic of the team change, players in and out, take a call. So I'm pretty content for the time being. But yeah, next few game weeks are going to be very, very crucial for everyone, not just me.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, that sums up Kesar's team. Let's move on to Rohit's team then.
Yep. So my team performed decent as well. I got 70 points. Took me to 103k overall rank. So in general, I think my team performed well. My players, I think just 3 of them did give returns. 4 of them, Shaw, Sanchez, Ayling, and Ben Rama. But other than that, I think it was a good performance from the team, and I think my team for the first time in many seasons feels balanced. Like usually, it used to be scrambling for points, like eight players a day, but like now the situation is like because of this channel as well, where like someone covers up for the points lost.
Yeah, it definitely looks a lot more balanced than the other teams that we've seen. Is there any player that you're thinking of shipping out for someone, or are you gonna keep it as is?
I have only one free transfer in the bank right now, so I'm going to keep it as is. The entire team has decent fixtures. West Ham are playing Southampton, United are playing Newcastle, Tony's playing I think Brighton, even Wilson has a decent run of fixtures. So I'm going to grab that second transfer, and then most probably if Bruno and Tony can't keep up the performance, both of them are going into tough fixtures.
Right.
So I will do a double switch, most likely for Bruno goes for either Jota or Trincao from Wolves, and then I'll get Lukaku as striker.
Okay. So Kesar, a lot of managers are planning to go for 2 premium strikers. What are your thoughts on that?
2 seems pretty dicey, but then the thing is, I mean, after game week 7 or from game week 7, you have to get in Lukaku. As long as he can keep the performances up and, get into some good form. It's still early days for him. I wouldn't say, oh my God, he's definitely a must in my team at this point. Because the goals, if they start getting distributed in Chelsea's squad, then it doesn't make a lot of sense to invest that much money who you can't feel confident in captaining. So I get it. Okay, I probably would get Chelsea's striker Lukaku at that point as well. And then obviously I know a lot of people in the community, FPL community, want to get Ronaldo in as soon as he comes in. And I'm pretty sure he's going to come in as a striker around 12. That's what I think. We'll have to wait and see the price. I think that's too much money invested in just 2 people.
What? I mean, we have Salah. We have Salah and Fernandes right now, so that's still a lot of money invested in 2 people, right?
But see, there's a disadvantage and an advantage of having Bruno. So in the sense, now if you want to get rid of Bruno, it's definitely an advantage because first of all, if the goals start being distributed between Greenwood, Pogba, Greenwood,
Pogba, Sancho, Ronaldo,
Ronaldo. In a way, good thing for someone who doesn't own a Bruno or a Ronaldo or someone like that, because in the sense, like in a lot of the other teams, only one player is the main man who's going to score. Like in West Ham, Antonio is the main man who's going to score. Salah is the main man who's going to score. So Kane, at the end of the season, wherever he is, he is going to be up there. Even in teams like Leicester and all, Vardy generally outscores everyone else. You want to invest your money in those kind of players. So that's why getting rid of Bruno and then instead of getting a Ronaldo up front, making that space, just distribute that money. That is a very, very big possibility. And there's a big ups. Like, you can easily cover, like 2 players, I always feel can cover the points from 1 player.
Got it. What do you think? What do you think, Rohit?
Yeah. I agree with Kesar. I think what's happening this season is usually when we go for premiums, we want to keep them season long. But this season, due to the way of the fixtures lining up, due to the new transfers coming in, And so we're going to basically have to like work out which sections, like which game weeks we want to keep a particular premium, and then again gather two transfers because you need to ship him out either for a premium striker or something like that.
Got it. So, what according to you is a good balance to the team? Would you have two strikers, five midfielders? Like, what formation is ideal at this point?
I personally like the 3-4-3. The strikers have been performing well as well. So I don't necessarily need a premium striker. Wilson has been performing. Antonio has been performing. DCL is in the same price range and he has been performing. So if you can fit three medium range strikers, that they're giving really good returns. And you can have premium picks in the midfield like Salah. If Bruno is not going to return as many points, then like Kesar said, you can distribute that to getting even more like mid to a little mid-high range midfielders like Son. He's premium, but he's like not in the 12 range yet. So you can go for Son and Mahrez if he continues scoring.
Got it.
So yeah.
I mean, yeah, same. No formation is the right formation, but to have a good balance in your team, I think you need to have at least one premium defender, that is 6 and 6 plus. You need to have one premium midfielder and one premium striker. As the season goes on, I think we will all shift towards a premium striker.
For sure. Is there anyone that caught your eye during this game week who you think you might, at least add to your watch list?
Any player from any position? Or
Yeah, any
specific
position. Yeah, any position.
Yeah, obviously, is a player who's not scored in 3 game weeks, but Wolves striker Jimenez has caught my eye. Their fixtures are turning really, really good fixtures coming ahead. Whenever they score, he'll more or less be involved. And the thing is, they are not scoring as many as they should. The expected goals are much, much, much higher. Maybe 4 or 5, if I'm not wrong, in the last 3 weeks together. And Semedo. So I mean, like, both my watch list players are from Wolves. I think they've played some really tough teams and only conceded maybe one each goal each team each game week.
Fair.
So yeah, looks good. That team looks pretty good.
Right.
Everyone should jump on them.
I think Pathare and I both agreed upon one more player from Wolves that we might plan on getting in. Pathare, would you like to, give our viewers the name?
Yeah, so it's Trinka. He plays on the left wing, right wing. He plays on the right wing for Wolves, and like he has decent numbers in his past 3 game weeks. He's had quite a few goal attempts, but mainly looking at the way he's played, I really liked it. He looked quite attacking, and I feel there's potential out there, especially now that Wolves have an easy run of fixtures coming. They are one of the 4 teams who have had like the most goal attempts and no goals to show for. So, like, I think it's high time they start scoring now.
I think there's one more player that caught my eye during this game week, but I'm not so sure whether or not he'll be starting as many games. Harvey Elliott from Liverpool. Kesar, what do you think about him, considering you're a Liverpool fan?
Looked pretty good, but I wouldn't be 100% sure he starts. Thiago is still not up to speed. Thiago is definitely going to come back into the team. You can expect Keita to start a few game weeks. Now, Elliott is definitely looking really good, but can he play?
Yeah,
he's too young to sort of get a consistent run of fixtures at this particular age. So,
right.
I think I'll stay away from him. Plus, also the thing is, if you really need to triple up on a Liverpool, then why wouldn't we go for a Jota or a Robertson? I mean, I think Robertson's gone under the radar, obviously, because he was injured. I had him in my first week draft. I'd obviously ship him out because of the injury. Now that I think of it, just having a conversation with you guys, I think instead of Jota, I would probably feel more safe putting Robertson in, if I can make that space. Because over the course of a season, Robertson has a higher chance of clean sheets and assists than Jota. Because Jota, you're still not sure, will he start, will he not start?
Yeah.
Minutes will be managed. That's not the case with Robertson, and Robertson's proved in the last 2 seasons his numbers up there for anyone to see.
Yeah, honestly, I'd just wait for an update from Klopp on Firmino's injury. If he's sidelined for a longer period of time, then Jota makes more sense. If not, then yeah, definitely, why not? Robertson can be taken into consideration, but then again, two premium defenders is just a little too much.
Yeah, exactly. So, I feel if you have two premium defenders, it's very difficult to make a changes if the sudden need arises. Because
Yeah.
defenders in general, you don't look for transferring out throughout the season,
Fair.
unless they have a really, really bad performance. So, if it's a midfielder that's having a bad performance, it's easy to have a straight swap or maybe a transfer for a premium striker of the same range or something like that. For defender, then you might have to lose out on some of the other transfers you planned out.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, the way you said it sums it up perfectly for me, and is that you get a defender in for the entire season. Keep Robertson the entire season, he's going to give you more points than a 7 million midfielder in any average normal season. That's a pro and a con. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But there's another question moving away from current discussion. A lot of our viewers would want to know. The view is just yes or no. Will you get Ronaldo in straight away? I think a lot of viewers want to know this.
I'm still on the edge about that. It totally depends on when he signs, when he's in training. If he gets in training in the next 4-5 days, I probably might. But I'm not so sure whether or not he's playing for Portugal. Is he during the international break?
But the thing is, even if he's training, I mean, like you said, even if he's training, he's not training with the main team. All the main players will go for.
I'll probably wait one game week. Yeah, Newcastle game week is the one I won't get him in. Probably game week 5, I'll be better equipped to answer that question.
What about you, Patare?
Just on a whim, I would get him for the Newcastle game week because the last time he scored a hat-trick for United was against Newcastle. But planning a proper team, I wouldn't get him until game week 14 or 15 because that's when United's good fixture run starts.
Wow. And if you were on a wild card?
Still, I would plan that transfer but not get him immediately.
It's Vibes FC, bro. How can you not get the major alpha Viber?
See, Vibes FC gets you 2 points.
That's true.
Planning gets me 22 points.
Fair.
If anyone's wondering what this Vibes FC is, currently you want to explain to them.
Yeah, Manchester United is now called Vibes FC officially, guys, because we have no tactics, we have just vibes. So it's Vibes FC. We're gonna play off vibes. We'll see how that goes for us. On that note, we'll call this one, and thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. We'll probably come up with a watch list tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Till then, like, share, subscribe, and yeah, ciao.